Hello, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, or Senstaku, as you might know me on Twitter, the executive producer here, and I just want to thank you for watching. It really means a lot to us that people watch, listen to, and enjoy our shows. If you want to help us keep making these shows as fun and lively as they can be, please join your fellow fans in supporting us at our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms or by subscribing to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/finalshowfilms. It really means a lot to us that the amount of you who do support us continue to do so, especially our $25 plus tier supporters on Patreon. Angie Tonic, Cat Waterflame, Samantha Bates, Maureen Monty, and Gravity Alexander. Every little bit helps, so thank you to all of our patrons and subs. Check us out on Twitter at Final Show Films and on our website at www.finalshowfilms.com for updates, go-live notifications, and more. We love interacting with you, so feel free to tweet at us or email us at finalshowfilms@gmail.com. That being said, please relax and enjoy. We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Star Wars: The Twilight Nights. I am John, and I'm your game master for the evening. And joining me today is Mara, who will introduce herself and roll Destiny.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mara. I'm playing Nerese, droid consular, and just dead inside.
So outside.
I got a dark side.
Dead previously. And
Yes.
also joining me is Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm playing Avazia. She is a pureblood Sith duo berserker.
And roll Destiny.
And I'm rolling
A light side. Intriguing. And Jack. Who
You're
is
muted.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I am playing Graztatha. They are a Wookiee Xi'an expert. 2 light side.
Ooh. And William.
Hi, I'm William, and I'm playing Korsarath, who is a pureblood Sith Makashi duelist, and my destiny roll is a dark side.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I just remembered my light wasn't on, and I am playing Kitty, a Wookiee alchemist.
Who rolls a Destiny? They'll roll a Destiny when they get back. Craig.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm playing Crack Tolpa, a Quarren artificer or artisan, and I am 1 dark as always.
Right. Aaron, go ahead and roll your Destiny as Jeremy introduces themselves.
Light side.
I'm Jeremy. I am playing Ilyana, the Dathomirian mystic. I don't know how, because this has probably been mentioned by Jack at least at one point, but I don't know how I just now realized we have a Kidian and an Ilyana.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is appropriate because I'm
You
wearing a
said that
Kitty
as
and
though I
Ilyana
didn't
shirt right
pick
now.
That name knowingly.
That was
Oh,
not
yeah.
intentional. That was
I've
100%.
referenced that. This is the 3rd or 4th time we've played this campaign. I've referenced that at least 5 times.
I know there's been plenty of Ilyana
This is
references.
the
I didn't realize there were Kitty
6th
and Ilyana.
episode, Jack.
Okay.
But
Like I said,
yes.
at least.
And I get us another dark side to be perfectly even.
Hey,
Ooh.
balance in
As
all things should
should
be.
All right, Purple Chin.
Purple is also a ruling color of this game.
I'm wearing purple shirt.
There's a purple
Close
on my
enough.
There's purple on my rainbow shirt. Anyways. There it is. Star Wars: The Twilight Nights, Episode 6: The Trials. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the year is 3643 BBY, 10 years after the Treaty of Coruscant was signed. Throughout the Galactic Republic, an ailment of unknown origins ravages Jedi Masters, threatening to tilt the balance of power in this galactic Cold War. The Jedi Council has reacted by dispatching their best and brightest in the hopes that they will save those afflicted Masters in time to prevent an escalation of hostilities. Meanwhile, on Eos, our Twilight Squires continue their journey, having confirmed the destruction of their master's ship, the presence of an even greater threat than they realized, and the fact that if they are to find a way off this planet, then they must trust in each other and in the Force. When we last left off, we had just finished our third watch of the most recent rest, which means you guys have been on this planet for this. You're going into your third galactic standard day on this planet, and you are all getting up as you find yourselves waking up in this circle of force dampening that is generated by these Ysalamir-like lizards that are in the trees. It is still daytime.
Graz is just packing up and getting ready to get back on the trail as soon as physically possible. They are very impatient at this point. Everything is taking too long. Everything is going wrong. Yeah.
I have made sure that Crack erased his scan, and other than that, I'm packing up and stuff too.
Sure. I don't know if that's something that gets saved or you're really using your data pad just as a screen, but
I have no idea.
Yeah, data pad's like an iPad, so you can save things on it, and thus you can also delete things from it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Crack will show you deleting it. Will show you as he deletes the data. Then.
Thank you.
And then it's gonna help help Graz as they get everything packed up.
Yep.
Right. Y'all get everything.
Yeah, if Crack is going to help, Graz will just be loading stuff onto the sled, as well as making sure everybody's packs are prepared, nothing's getting left behind. We've left as little evidence of our passing and camp as possible.
Yep. Right, it was that direction?
Directions are indicated.
Let us
Kitty
begin.
just sort of kicks the dirt again over the spot where the thing that lit itself on fire landed.
And you continue on your journey. For the most part, it's pretty easy going. You're not going to have to make any survival checks because there's no threat of anything happening to you at the moment. Keeping to the trail that Ilyana has picked out, you find yourselves moving through the jungle at a surprisingly easy gait. You keep an eye out, and there are no signs of arboreal octopi or anything else that might threaten to drop on you. As you travel for a while, you woke up in the latter half of this second day that this second Eosian day, meaning that during your travel, you find yourselves approaching twilight. As you do, you enter as the light begins to dark but has not yet fully darkened. You all enter into a clearing that has opened up in the middle of the trail. There doesn't seem to be any reason for this clearing, as far as you're aware. There's no buildings or crashed starships or anything like that. It's just a clearing, and then the path and the trail continues on through it.
All right.
Graz will give the area a quick scan, at least visually.
Give me a
look, listen, sniff technique.
Ooh, I can do a heat signature.
Sure.
One. With my
Do you have
binoculars.
do you have good handwriting in your heat signature?
No.
Okay.
Terrible handwriting. I'm a doctor.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Dumb and Tish. You can both give me perception checks. Difficulty 2.
Okay.
I'd like to do the same, please.
Sure, go ahead.
Oof.
Yerp.
Perception is a good thing.
Graz is distracted.
People should do the thing.
One
What's the
success.
difficulty 2?
Difficulty 2, yes.
Hurrah! Nothing.
Perception. Make sure
We're
I got
rolling
nothing
well
else in
so
there.
far.
Okay. Nope.
Is this
Okay, I
roll
thought for a
twice.
second. I thought for a second that the wash was Jeremy's roll, and I was gonna
Right.
Be like, ow.
I thought so too. I was gonna be like, again.
Sorry, what was that question, Aaron?
Was this supposed to be an everyone roll or just the people?
Anyone who wants to. Anyone who wants to can roll.
Sorry, I thought it was the people who are leading.
No, they had just asked. But anyone who wants to can roll. All right. So for the most part, nothing seems. It's a clearing. Nothing seems particularly spectacular about it. Crack. Something about this clearing feels off, and you can't put your tentacles on it.
I think we ought to be careful. Something about this is odd.
I do not see
Do you
any
see anything in
abnormal.
particular?
Does it strike me visually, or is it more of a sensation?
You've just
through the
got a
force?
bad feeling about this.
Um,
God
damn it.
Crack holds up a talon finger and said, I have a sensation that gives me a that leads me inclined to believe we'll have a poor outcome.
I
It's
do not
usually
see any
best to
abnormal heat
trust their
signatures.
instincts.
Bad outcome to what extent? Should we turn around and get back on the ship and fly home?
Yes, obviously that would be optimal if the ship had not exploded. In the meantime, perhaps we should go around the clearing rather than through it.
Graz glances over at Kitty and Ilyana.
I will.
I'll glance at Ilyana because I don't actually have any foresight ability. Sorry.
I'm gonna be less. I feel like this is gonna be less of a foresight thing. I am actually going to use Seek
Mhm.
to try and. I will need 2 force points for this, but try to spend 2 force points to gain insight into the general. Wait, no, that's not quite the right one. I mean, that could
I'll try
kind
and
of
see
work.
through illusions.
Yeah, illusions. Is short
That's the best
range
I
the
can do.
same for out of combat as it is for in combat?
Yes.
So, like 3. What's short range?
It's roughly.
The range of blaster is definitely gonna hit you.
Yeah, so it's roughly between it's between like 4 feet and 20 feet away, kind of.
Too far. Okay, or not far
Oh,
enough.
Yeah, we're not.
It's not
that
gonna.
close.
It's not a short range. Isn't going to cover the entire clearing, but it'll cover like the area immediately outside the clearing from where you're at. Like,
Okay.
In that case, I'm gonna look around specifically for any wildlife. If I can make a separate check for like
Sure.
life forms that are in the area, nature. There isn't a nature. Xenology.
I
yeah,
guess
Or
I
the
can try to
trees,
foresee.
different trees.
yeah, it can be either a xenology or a survival check.
Thanks.
or-
Difficulty. What?
can I-
for-
Difficulty
xenology.
3.
Can I make that survival check as well?
Sure.
Cool.
I guess I will try to foresee into our very immediate
Yeah.
future.
Cool. Go ahead and roll your 4C.
2 successes and an advantage on Graz's survival check.
I got 5 successes and a threat on a xenology check.
Wow.
Failure on the xenology check. Kitty is not doing well today.
Well, here's some fun conflict.
You gonna take 2 points of strain?
2
Flip the right
points of
side?
strain, 0.4 conflict. Yep, you got it.
Yep.
Or 4 conflict.
2
or
conflict. 2 conflict. 1 per point.
Yep.
All right. So starting with the rolls.
Stupid light side.
Starting with the rolls. Xenology rolls. Nothing seems particularly out of the ordinary, tree or animal wise around here. Everything seems fairly. And again, Crack. Nothing is. You don't even know where you should be looking really for what this bad feeling is. You just have a bad feeling.
Okay.
So yeah, nothing's standing out to a xenology roll. Survival roll, Graz, there doesn't seem to be any like inherent dangers. Like you're just looking in the clearing, there's no obvious nests, there's no traps that you can see, there aren't any pitfalls or holes. The trail goes right through the clearing that you've been following, and it seems to be fairly stable. Ilyana, you sort of sit and focus, and as you look ahead, you see that temple entrance dominating your vision.
Okay.
And that's all you can see. Nothing else is coming up.
There is a sound of gritted annoyance.
Do your teeth
Gr-
grind?
Graz will pull out their training
Yeah.
lightsaber.
I'll
I'll
sort of
test
hold
it.
Up a... Wait.
Hmm?
Looks to Graz and Ileana, who's been doing most of the leading. How dangerous would it be to go around? Trusting feelings is important. They mean things, obviously.
I assume the going on a more perimeter route would probably take us an extra 20 minutes maybe or so.
With the terrain, closer to
If-
an hour.
Okay. And I'm assuming there's not like a little sign out in the middle near the trail with the ubiquitous universal symbol for minefield or anything like that.
No, you don't see any.
Okay.
Of that.
Caution might be wise. Let's keep to the edge.
Jeremy, were you wanting to act on that vision at all, or just being annoyed?
I'm not sure how I can act on
I was just-
something that I've.
I just wanted to see if there was something that you had wanted to say, or
Oh.
yeah.
No, she's just gonna make the annoyed sound
Cool.
because it didn't tell us anything we need to. We don't already know. So she's gonna be a brat.
All right. So you begin to edge your way around the clearing.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Crack will, as we do so, will keep watching the clearing with interest.
That's good. Nerees.
Yeah.
As you round one of the trees following the rest of your group,
Uh-huh.
you hear the sound of metal on metal. Cling, 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 cling.
Okay.
And you turn to look, and you
Yep.
realize you're standing in a corridor. Your feet are on a steel floor. A Durasteel floor.
No. No one's around.
No, just you by yourself.
Feet.
Mm,
No, that feet
This
in
is
mechanic
not the
droid feet.
Yeah. Not the corridor of the Aeon Cutter.
No, it's not. This one is the Durasteel here is a darker shade, sort of like purplish black in tint.
Okay.
And to your left and right, there are two doors.
All right.
One is not decorated at all.
Okay.
The other has the Sith rune for power etched
Mm.
into the center of it.
I listen.
You hear nothing.
There's no difference between the two doors that I can tell,
Not by listening.
besides the decorations.
Mm-mm.
I go away from the Sith rune door.
You approach the undecorated door,
Yep.
and it opens up. Inside is darkness. There's a little cot, a mirror with a washing basin, a couple of small icons on the floor.
Icons?
Yeah, little objects that are symbols, but not symbols that you're familiar with.
I pick them up. I pick one of them up.
You pick one of it up. It feels familiar. As you turn and look into the mirror,
Yep.
you see a young human, dark hair,
Same. Yeah.
pale skin, with these scarred Sith runes across the forehead and down one cheek, looking
I back.
at you.
Yeah. I get away from the mirror, out of the line, and look down at my hand holding the
It's your
icon.
droid
thing.
body.
Yep. Uh-huh.
You hear a voice coming
is
from.
this?
You hear a voice coming from the mirror. Oh, you're starting to remember.
Remember what?
Remember you.
Are you me?
I was. You remember. Kind of.
Not a lot.
Well, you wouldn't. You've been hiding.
Yes.
When you hide, you don't find things.
No, and they don't find you.
No, they find you. That's what hide and seek's all about. Someone's always seeking. Just depends on if it's you or them. Meanwhile, Crack, you're staring at that clearing.
I am.
And as you turn to look at where the rest of the people are going, wow, it got dark real quick. And wet. Wait, you're underwater.
All right. Does it seem familiar?
It's dark. Like the depths of the ocean back at home.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it warm?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You look around. There's a cavern you can see in like a cliff wall off to one side that is so dark you can't even see into it.
Does it seem familiar? Is it one of the mines that I remember?
It might be.
Okay.
There's just a sense about it that doesn't feel right.
Anything else around before I head in that direction?
There's in sort of the opposite direction you see a what are they called? The hive mind jellyfish.
Mm-hmm. Moapa.
The Moapa. Yeah, you see a Moapa swarm. Just sort of dancing in the sea. Just one brilliant bit of light off to one side.
He will, in whatever of their language that he remembers from his childhood, will call out to them in a standard Moapa greeting.
They're telepathic, so it's just
Okay.
They sort of sense minds.
Okay. Hello.
As you call out, there's just sort of this adjustment among them as they coalesce into a form. This Moapa operate in swarms and in hives, this sort of hive mind telepathy. And when they coalesce together, they basically form a giant Moapa formed out of many smaller ones.
Okay.
And as they do, it sort of tilts its membrane towards you, like as if it's inspecting you.
Is this an illusion?
In your mind, you hear the voice of the Moapa, this sort of choral-like sound, as if many voices are all speaking in unison at once. It's your perception.
Of course. Concentrated force planet. So am I here to go into the mine?
You're here to choose whatever action you would wish.
Can you tell me anything I don't already know?
Yes.
Tell me something I don't know.
Why?
Because I always want to know it.
So the question then becomes, where will your curiosity lead you? And one tendril sort of extends and gives you just sort of like a tugging wave.
Tugging it towards the Moapa swarm?
Yeah.
Which is in the opposite direction from the cave.
Correct.
Right. Okay. I will go towards the swarm.
As you're doing that, Kitty and Graz.
Yup.
Graz, you push aside a branch and step around a tree. and you realize the trees have changed. These are not the trees of Eos. This is Kashyyyk.
Roshers.
Yeah, the large, massive, planet-scale trees.
They'll just reach out a hand and just sink claws into the bark a little bit.
You
I
grab.
haven't touched
and
one of these in a very long time.
Your talons dig in. Bits of wood peel away as you claw down the side.
Glance over to see if Kitty is nearby or anything, or if I'm by myself.
Kitty is there. Kitty, you have also suddenly realized that you're on Kashyyyk with your sibling.
Look
Back
back.
home.
I does feel that way.
And your attention is drawn
I
to
suppose we always are.
your attention is drawn to the sound of a great bird crying in the canopy as it swoops down and lands in a tree in the distance, as well as to a lake of water immediately in front of you, where you can see into the depths, the dark depths of this water, in the root systems of the great trees of Kashyyyk, where there is a cave. And you
There is
feel
no
Night.
dist-
you feel pulled
go ahead.
in either direction.
there is no distance.
Is it a bird call that I recognize?
Yes.
Is it a Shio bird?
It is a Shio bird.
To the bird. Quickly. And the training saber is out and on.
Are you sure?
There are a great many things that I am not sure of. This one I very much am.
Isn't this why I suppose. Well, we're the same. So he'll go the same place.
Right.
But Kitty is going to stoop down and as we're heading, instead of pulling out like a training saber or anything, pulls out a like sample vial and takes some of the water. And
Okay.
puts it in a sample vial.
Corserath.
Legit.
As you step around a tree, darkness engulfs your vision again. You turn, there's a light source. You find yourself in an office. There's a large, ornate desk in front of you. Behind it, a high-backed chair, turned back to you. On the far wall behind the chair, on the other side of the chair, trophies of conquests, artifacts from conquered civilizations. And to your left, a door. A door that looks to be a different color from the metal that is made up of the office you're standing in. It's more of a dusky brown color, whereas the rest is that dark, almost purple Durasteel.
Around, looks at the desk, looks at the door, and just sits down.
In front of the desk?
Just in the middle, like directly between the two options.
Okay.
Peace is a lie, as is passion. There is no peace without conflict. There is no passion without serenity. The force is one, not two halves of a whole. Where light and dark meet is twilight. In twilight there is balance. In balance we find the force. He just closes his eyes and meditates.
As you do, you hear that chair turn around. Well, seems my pet has returned.
Checks the
Avasia.
sound out.
Avasia. You round a corner, and you find yourself in a darkened alley. Looking around, the structures remind you of Droman Kos. Dark, purplish durasteel. City lights off in the distance, the sound of people bustling, the sound of traffic overhead. You're in an alleyway. A shaded alleyway. To one side, there is the light and sound and bustle of the city, and the other deeper into the alley.
She's gonna go deeper into the alley.
You walk deeper into the darkness. Once there, you see Corsorath standing, not wearing the exact same outfit that you've seen him in before. This one's a darker robe, hooded, drawn. You can see the lower half of his face.
Corsorath.
And you see his eyes sort of glowing beneath the hood as he raises a lightsaber, flicks it on. And there is this sharp as a ruby red blade extends from the hilt. Ilyana,
Yup.
you stumble slightly. Something catches your foot. You're a little bit distracted at the moment. These
What
visions,
am I not?
these visions not, giving you the information you want. As you do, you sort of look down at what it was that you tripped over, and you see a bone. A skeleton, in fact. Looks like it's reaching out towards you. As you look around, you realize you are on Dathomir. The red clay of the mountainside rising up in stark contrast to the forest you were just in a moment ago. To one side, swamp. Desiccated, decaying, filled with the bodies of those who just couldn't cut it. To the other side, a carved mountain face, the face of a Night Sister, inside of which there is probably a village of Night Brothers or some sort of witch's lair.
Okay.
And hanging from the trees in the swamp are these meat sacks that you are familiar with. You know what's inside them. More failed sisters.
You're right. Nope. 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 Okay, fine. We'll see this through. And just look for the most obvious direction that I'm supposed to be headed.
There are two. There's the swamp or the mountain.
Right. Well, that's annoying vision. I know where I'm supposed to go. So yeah, swamp.
You head to the swamp. Nereus. The child in the mirror that you can't quite see because you've moved away from it.
I edge back.
You look around. The child is mirroring your emotions as you get around. So like it's holding the icon in the same hand,
Yep.
looking at you, though dead in where your eyes would be.
Mm-hmm. I'm mad at you.
You're mad at yourself? Or are you mad at someone else?
Mad at a lot of things, but I wish you would go away.
That's good. Master says to hold on to anger. It powers you. It's fuel.
Yeah, but that's not what Nimbushusa says.
Ibishusa says a lot. It doesn't say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think you didn't listen very well. We were not strong enough to deal with that.
I did exactly what I was told,
Yeah, and it led to this.
which was the plan.
Yeah, not my plan.
Was yours at the time. Might not be anymore. But it's still his plan. And you hear that other door slide open. Are you afraid?
Yes.
Hold on to that too. That also gives us power. Fear and anger. Hatred. They branded us with it. It says, running a finger across the forehead.
What does it say?
It's just Sith runes, you can't read it.
Yeah, I know. I asked him.
Oh.
Or
I don't
them.
know. The markings of a slave. They brand all of us with it. Some of us get more. The less useful you are, the more you get.
Well, I don't want more.
You've already got plenty.
Where's the door in relation to where I am?
Just off to your left.
Off to my left. Can I hear the other door open? Can I hear sounds of movement?
You do. And as you hear the sounds of footsteps, the you in the mirror turns. He's coming.
Right.
You can either hide or seek. Those are your options. But know that if you're hiding, someone else is seeking.
I click my guns out. And I go to the door and I wait until I hear the sounds of him coming close.
These heavy footsteps. Boom, boom, boom. Sounds almost like whoever it is moving with a limp. Just slightly off from what a normal walk would be. Boom, boom, boom. And it stops just outside of your view. What do you do?
I step out through the door and I raise my gun.
What are you feeling at the moment?
I don't want to do this at all, but it's me or him kind of thing. That
anxiety and that tension.
Yes. Yep.
You feel it rattling through where your flesh should be.
Yep.
As you turn the corner, stepping out into the hallway, you're back in the forest. And you feel uneasy.
Yep.
Your morality goes down 5 points.
Okay.
Graz and Kitty. Swinging through the trees with the wind once again brushing past your fur reminds you of traveling on Kashyyyk again. As you grab vine and swing, landings, jump from one landing to another, grab another vine, swing, traversing through the trees. It doesn't take you very long at all to find the nest of the Shio bird. Sitting in this nest, sort of looking at you as if it was waiting for you to arrive, is this massive white bird. downy feathers along its back, but just bare skin, almost reptilian, down the front, sitting in this massive nest. Atop its head, a great brown, almost like an acorn, bit of exoskeleton or bone or something, like a helmet on top of its face with two horns protruding left and right. And its eyes, these large golden eyes, looking at you as it just sits there, wings folded, in its nest.
Graz just pushes forward and starts moving towards it, watching very closely to see if it starts to make any response. He's wanting to get within about just outside of what they're trying to position themselves just outside what they think is striking range for that
So, short
for
range.
that beak. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You move forward. The head tilts, watches you.
Why? What did it mean?
This
Kitty
loud.
is going to sit where
Hmm?
she is, further back.
Sure. There's this loud squawk. Much loud, kind of like an overgrown chicken, kind of. Just this really massively loud but high pitched sound. And you sort of feel that bubbling underneath your fur. Heat blooming in your chest and back.
They'll look around the nest to see if there's any evidence, any remains, anything there.
You see that the nest is filled with bits and pieces of material. Not like a scavenger or collector, but more like used to build. Not, and it seems like basically just from looking at the nest, it seems like it uses whatever it can find to build a nest.
How much bigger than me is this thing?
Oh, massive. It's,
Mhm.
your silhouette 1, it's silhouette 3.
Right. Okay.
There are smaller based ships.
Right.
It's about the size of like an X-Wing, spaceships wise. So like TIE fighters are smaller than it. X-Wing's
Right.
about the same size.
Mm-hmm. There's supposed to be a purpose. They kind of look over their shoulder to where Kitty is.
Kitty's there.
What now?
We're one, and I'm following you.
Graz will step up into engaged range and just sort of poke at the thing with the lightsaber. Answer me. What was it for?
You poke into it, the lightsaber crackles, a bit of feather and flesh burns off. It just continues to stare at you.
You know that's not how it works.
I don't know much.
And
There's
as
a
you-
lot I don't know.
As you're standing there, your grip tightens on that training saber. And in your mind, you could kill this thing. It's not even defending itself. You look down, that lightsaber has been replaced by a Rick blade. This savagely carved Durasteel weapon. designed specifically to kill creatures like this.
If Kitty can get something in.
Mhm.
I can't give you answers. You can only feel them. But remember that everything is a part of everything else. The force is this forest, and this forest does not have different parts, only pieces.
Is Rick Blade one or two-handed weapon?
One-handed.
Okay.
Kitty has definitely said this before, and it probably made just as much sense then.
Graz grabs the blade in their dominant hand and just pulls it back and throws it out of the nest as far as they possibly can. And there's just tears.
As you throw it, you both realize you're back on Eos. Graz, your morality goes up 5 points. Kitty, yours stays the same.
Yeah. Kitty will sort of hand on Graz's on their shoulder. You know, I would have pulled you out if it had been too bad.
I know.
Crack.
Yes.
You were swimming towards the Moapa?
Yes. They're gesturing to me, so I'm going in their direction.
You swim towards them, and as you do, that one tentacle splits into 1,000 smaller ones and just wraps around you and pulls you closer.
I will let them do so.
And sort of the giant gelatine head wibbles and wobbles as it looks down at you. Why are you so curious? The voice in your head says.
Because time spent not understanding more of the universe around me is time wasted.
But what about appreciating it?
I appreciate through understanding.
A few more of the tentacles split, and you find yourself carried along you find yourself carried along the tendril up into the inner mass of this Moapa hive. You are completely surrounded by Moapa.
What does it feel like?
It's weird. It's like you're in a massive puddle of jelly. It's this mostly liquid, but with an amount of give that you wouldn't expect of liquids feeling.
Has this ever happened to Crack when he was a child?
No. Moapa tend to stay pretty far away from other creatures. They don't they like to isolate. They don't really interact with much.
All right. I think Crack is sort of waiting to see what the Moapa will do next and trying to
After a moment,
sort of record as much as he possibly can about this experience.
After a moment, you begin to feel your muscles tense up, as if something is affecting them. And there's this sort of electric tingle going up and down your body.
Is this an effective Moapa with which I'm familiar?
It feels kind of like your body is being paralyzed.
But I mean, is that something that I'm aware that Moapa can do?
Yes, Moapa can do that.
Okay.
It's how they eat.
Okay. Is this what you intend to teach me?
What's the phrase? Curiosity killed the cat?
Okay, I'm clearly not a cat, and there aren't any cats native to our homeworld.
You feel that your arms tensing up. You feel like you can still move them a little bit at the moment, but if much longer goes by, you will lose all feeling in them.
You're not a Mwapa at all. Mwapa wouldn't have any reference for cats. And I'll start to fight against the sensation.
You fight against the sensation, flailing and writhing. How are you trying to get out?
How cohesive is this mass?
Pretty congealed at the moment, but sufficient force from something hot and pokey might get rid of it.
I'm going to try to use move to just push them out away from me.
Roll me a force die. Or your force die.
Oh, it's just still 2?
Yeah, still 2.
Okay.
Would you like to flip a light side, take 2 strain, generate 2 conflict, and use those 2 points?
Yes.
You sort of draw on a little bit of that frustration you're feeling as your curious nature was gotten the better of by these not Moapa, and just push out with your feelings, and they separate away, and you're left alone. And this lingering thought in your mind of, well, that's one way to do it. And you find yourself again in that forest. Your morality goes up by 5 points. Ilyana.
2 seconds.
Corserath. I have extras.
Sorry.
It's fine. Are you good now or no?
No.
Okay, good. Corserath. That voice. You can hear it. You're trying your best to push it out.
No bite.
Oh, are you trying to resist me? Did you think you had memorized all of your activation codes? And it says something in the Sith language. You find your eyes opening and your body standing up. Not standing all the way up, though, just into a kneel. As you look up at the face of your mother, sitting on the desk, looking down at you. That's better. Maybe a willpower roll. Difficulty 2.
Skill associated with that, like discipline.
Yeah, we'll say discipline.
Can I
Discipline,
step a light side on this?
Diff 2, sure.
Good. Because I don't have any discipline skill. Because it's not a class skill for me. God damn it. Okay.
You push against that training, and you just can't. These were you had wiped most of your brainwashing away, but there's still a little bit of excess. Your mother is clever enough to remain a Darth for a long period of time. But you find you still have your mouth. You can still speak. You've just been forced into a kneeling position.
You raised a monster.
I raised a tool. A very useful one at that.
I am making a man.
How cute. You can no more turn yourself into a man than the letter opener on my desk can. You simply don't have the capacity. That's why we sent you elsewhere. Like with all good blades, needs an expert's touch to reforge it. It can't change itself. We can get another discipline roll. Diff 2 still.
Advantages? Look at all those advantages.
So many advantages. but just as many failures.
Unfortunately, discipline not being a class skill.
You are struggling. And again, it's that same feeling of you aren't in control of your body. As she reaches out and just sort of cups your chin with one hand. A hand that has never known the warmth of a mother. This is cold and clammy. Sort of raises your eyes to hers. Don't worry, though. I'll find you. And you find that control is gone. You're in full control of your body.
I forge my own path.
What are you going to do? She's standing right in front of you.
He looks down at his waist. What's hanging there?
A black cylinder. Very simple in design. Similar to that lightsaber, that broken lightsaber you picked up.
He pulls it off of his belt, looks at it, crushes it, and turns and walks out.
As you turn, the surroundings fade again and you're in the forest. Your morality goes up 10 points. Avasia. Corsorath is standing in front of you with a lit lightsaber, looking like he wants to kill you.
This may be your past, but it is certainly not your present.
He swings. You dodge. Stepping out of the way as the lightsaber comes crashing down. It's Corsorath, but it's not the Corsorath you're familiar with. This isn't the precise, targeted strikes that he normally uses. This is the more aggressive, more similar to your own style of fighting. As he swings and prepares for a second strike.
She'll draw her warblade. Is it
Yeah, you've got
at
your
her
warblade.
waist? Okay. She will draw her warblade.
The lightsaber comes in, you parry it with the warblade. The two of you trade blows back and forth. Is there something you'd like to try to do?
She'll just keep pairing with him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He's not saying anything. He's
Nothing.
just remaining quiet.
No words. This is an
Okay.
instrument of death that is currently aimed at you.
She's gonna stop. Put her warblade down.
Are you going to try to dodge?
No.
Okay. And
She's going to stand in front of him, arms open. If this is what it takes to snap you out of it, go ahead.
The blade spins and comes striking down from above. And as it reaches your shoulder and collarbone, you feel the heat off of it. You feel this sudden spark of pain as it comes across you. But no cut. And the vision fades. Your morality raises by 10. It was up 10. Ilyana,
Yep.
you walk into the swamp,
Yes, I do.
where the meat sacks that carry the remains of your exiled or dead sisters hang from the trees, warnings to those who come here, visions of the future for those that have been sent here. You hear animals scurrying around through the swamp, finding their food, finding prey.
Okay.
Look around. There's a clear path leading through the swamp that you follow, and eventually
Right.
find yourself at a hut.
Okay.
It appears to be constructed out of the flesh and bone of the various creatures that can be found in this swamp. Not decorated with any of the sacks.
I advance.
You step inside. Inside the hut, there is a figure draped in black, sitting cross-legged on a pillow with a simple lightsaber hilt off to one side and a dagger and a vibro knife off to the other. Hands folded in its lap.
Hi.
Hello. The head tilts slightly and looks at you as if it's expecting you to do something.
Am I supposed to be asking something here, or
It's hard to tell, figure says,
Isn't
looking
it?
up at you. Spend so much time looking into the future, dealing with the present is difficult. The hood falls back and you see yourself,
Mm-hmm.
older, significantly, sitting there cross-legged, looking up at you. Every time I look into the future, and it tells me the truth. Not the truth I want to see, but a truth. Hardly ever works on the present. Frustrating.
Okay.
Never know what to say. She's looking at you, studying you, as if trying to pick you apart like a puzzle.
Why? Why are you here, though?
As opposed to there, she says, indicating the mountain behind you.
I mean, why are you in sort of the overarching,
Yeah.
like, here, though?
No.
Jesus Christ. Okay, go ahead.
What did
It's
you...
okay, I just cracked a fingernail. No big deal.
Ow.
Yeah, a
Hey.
little bit. It's fine.
The
We're method doing this shit.
yeah. This future you looks around. I don't know. I followed the signs that led me here.
Fucked up.
Or I'm exactly where I need to be.
I really hope not.
Not that bad once you get used to it. The sights of dead sisters, knowing that you'll probably join them,
Oh, not that.
the various monsters around, the smell.
Yeah. Yeah. This is moving backwards, not forwards. The rest of that, whatever.
Sometimes that's where the future leads you. Where would you be?
Maybe that's where the future leads you.
Where do you think your future is leading you?
I don't know yet, but not here. That I'm sure.
That's a good attitude to have. Keep that upper lip stiff. There's a
Well, see,
wry
now you're just being condescending.
there's a wry grin.
And I hate that about me. Well, that's not true. I hate it when I hate. This is awkward.
Little bit. She looks over your shoulder. This isn't the trial that is meant for you. Yours is further ahead.
Clearly.
But I think your friends could use your help.
There's a shock. Okay.
Word of advice. Word of advice.
Mm-hmm.
Calamari doesn't taste that good. And as you turn, you see the rest of your allies in various states of comport.
Okay.
Your morality goes up 5 points.
Goes up, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Up 5 points. There are a couple of different ways that could have ended. That was the minor gain, or minor light version.
You could have tried to kill yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
Question.
if you hadn't rushed things, no, I'm kidding. That was definitely the next step, though.
Does Graz still have a training saber?
Yes.
Okay.
You all find yourselves in the forest again, surrounded by each other, standing in the shadow of a tall building.
That was
One-
not there.
One that looks
Before.
familiar to Ilyana.
We hit the temple.
Is that what this is?
That was much faster than anticipated.
I told you, distance isn't.
You
I
told
look-
me that.
It probably depends upon the
Oh.
person, Crack.
Well, I assumed it was obvious.
I looked to the side. Is this
It
where
is
the
now.
clearing was?
No. Though it is in a clearing. You notice that the temple is there's like a tree growing up against the side of it, but the building is by and large free of forest. There is clearing around to one side. There is a landing pad on top of which is what seems like a very derelict ship. And there's just this building in the middle of this area where not a lot of the forest has grown. It seems odd considering how quickly this forest grows over things.
Okay, but it's not like the temple was just cloaked in the middle of that
No.
clearing and has now revealed itself.
No, it was not.
Okay.
Do we see doors, points of access, anything like that?
There's a large double door right in front of you.
Go then.
Split for recon or as a group?
I feel like if there's any dangers, if we're better off facing them as a group.
We could cover more
This
ground
is-
if we split up, though.
This is the trial we were sent for. I did ask, and they said that it was a trial as a group. But if we as a group decide that we need to take this on individually or in smaller groups, that's also being a group.
I also, before we discuss this further, I also feel I would be remiss in not asking, did anyone else just have
Yes.
an illusory experience where they went to the bottom of the ocean?
Not to the
Not
ocean,
exactly.
no.
Close
No,
enough.
if we'd gone where I wanted to go, kind of, but I thought it was obvious. I was being polite. Isn't that?
It's
Yes, we all
okay.
just experienced
Just
it.
looks at Graz.
Ileana looks at you. It's okay. Them aren't going to get it. One of them.
As you're having this discussion, the doors to the temple and open up.
Go then.
Graz will take point.
Stupid question. Did anyone just open them?
No.
Okay.
As you step into the darkened interior of this temple building, that's where we're going to be taking a break for a few minutes. So stretch your legs, get drinks, get food, whatever, and please enjoy these commercial messages. We'll be right back. We're back. So, you all move into this room, or this building. It seems like you've been referring to it mentally as a temple because it's what it looks like, but on the inside of it, and because it was referred to as a temple in the hologram, in the holo recording you guys found, on the inside it looks more like a command post as you look around and see there are various, like, computer terminal bunker arrays. In the middle of the room there is this large, like, holo receiver meeting thing. Computers all over the place, and a couple of different doors that lead off into different sections of the room, of the building. It is very sparsely decorated. It looks like whatever was happening here finished, and they either took whatever they had with them elsewhere or did something else. But in the long run, there's not a lot of decoration here to indicate who would have built this. As you come in and look around, looking around, there's also no clear indication as to where you need to go to acquire crystals. And I want all you to give me perception checks for me. Difficulty 2.
Okay.
Excited for this to go the same way every other's roll has gone.
Hey, I actually have success and advantage.
Oh, I gotta wash.
Success
and 2 threat.
Oh, wait, that's yours.
Hey, I actually got a success.
It's fine. Press the button.
Course Wrath.
3
Got a lot of
success, 3
threats
threat,
there.
and a cat.
Wash.
I'm not seeing mine. Is anyone else?
Nope, I'm not seeing
Nope.
yours at all.
Okay, I'm gonna click the button again then.
Up there it was.
Yep. It worked the
Good.
second time.
So,
Sorry.
Crack, Ilyana, and Graz, and Corsarath. All of you notice that some of the electronics in this room are on. And like on and still running. Crack, you notice particularly that big main holo projector in the middle of the room is on. There's light emanating from it. And as you go over to sort of inspect it, a voice from your right ear just says, "Fascinating, isn't it?"
It really is. Crack is already walking towards the terminal.
And as you all look over,
Do we notice somebody?
as you all look over at Crack, you see a figure, humanoid, wearing long dark robes, with his back to all of you at the moment because he's looking over Crack's shoulder.
Hi, I like your mysterious mystique.
I summon my vibro blade and I'm walking forward because nobody gets to kill my corn but me.
Crack goes like,
Who-
huh!
Who are
and
you?
turns and goes, oh, I thought you were Brain Whopper.
The figure turns as Ilyana stalks towards it, and you see a figure, which is GM for. Hang on, let me pull up my description.
Yeah.
And you see
We're giving
something
you time.
that you definitely see.
Praise for
and
box
it
text.
is
Box text
Quick, do it.
incoming.
So
Do it before
the
Liana's
figure is wearing long black and gray robes of a style that hasn't been seen in a while. This is, from some of your recollections, more traditional Jedi sort of outfits, except the colorization is wrong. It's not Sith because there's not enough leather and metal spikes. It's definitely Jedi because it's mostly cloth and robes.
I want to argue with you, but I can't.
I can't argue with you without being wrong.
with a
Right.
with a hood pulled up. And William, do you have that mask?
No. Yeah. Oh, my mask. Oh, yes.
Could you bring that mask over for a visual aid, please? And that mask under the hood
Okay.
as it turns and looks at the group of you.
History roll.
It is still
Yeah,
waving.
Obvious is Darth
Like,
Revan to
training saber is
anyone
out.
from the
Yeah.
Sith.
You can
But,
all
you
give
know,
you can all give me a
enthusiastically.
history roll difficulty 3.
Okay.
Lore, I assume, or
Lore or history.
Beat everybody to the punch by
There's
taking a
not
destiny point.
history. There's
Sorry.
a set of possible
I'm taking the other
histories.
one.
Hang on.
Core worlds, education, lore, underworld, demonology, and warfare.
Lore, education, warfare would be the three.
Ignore that roll.
Oh
I
my
didn't
God,
click out of
I'm
the
rolling
difficulty
like
thing.
shit
Wow.
today.
What the
That's
hell?
Terrible.
Diff 3. So yeah,
My
lore.
difficulty said
Wow.
difficulty -7. Hold on, let me re-roll that.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
You said warfare was an
Oh,
option?
My
Yes, warfare is an
difficulty
option.
was
Just
wrong.
3.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
I got one. And a threat.
I got one too.
One and a threat.
Let me guess. I know who it is, and then I take a straight because I know who it is.
So those of you that made successes,
I mean, not unreasonable.
Right.
yes, you know who Darth Revan is. The mask is very familiar for anyone that
I
has a
might
success.
suggest that you explain it because not everyone here is a lore aficionado.
Yes, I'm just clarifying the levels of lore because there are levels of successes. Graz with those that got successes on warfare, like Graz and those that got successes on lore, know more than one success on lore. Know that Darth Revan was around 300 some odd years ago a Jedi that broke with the Jedi Council's stance of neutrality in order to defend the Galactic Republic against the Mandalorian invaders during what was then known as the Mandalorian Wars. He led a series of Force-sensitive crusaders, as well as some Mandalorian defectors, against the Mandalorian Empire, and basically single-handedly drove them back and broke the war and won it for the Republic. He was known as a prodigy among the Jedi, a strategic genius among military minds, and a fairly powerful Force user in his own right. After the war, he disappeared, only to reappear several years later as a Dark Lord of the Sith, terrorizing the Galactic Republic. A group of Jedi led by a young, I think at the time she was a knight, known as Bastila Shan, who is the ancestor of the current leader of the Jedi Order, Satil Shan, stopped Revan and basically removed him from the galaxy. And as far as anyone is aware, that's where his legend ends, was in combat with Bastila Shan. He is known, again, those of you that made successes, you know he's a very powerful Force user, and that no one has ever seen his face that has records of it anyways, because he's always wearing a Mandalorian mask.
This Mandalorian mask specifically.
Yes, that one specifically. The figure turns.
To be clear, you said if you got more than one success on lore.
So
Yeah,
if you got one success on lore,
If
what
you
do
got
mean?
more than one success on lore, you know all of that. If you only got one success on lore, you know, and if you got a success on warfare, you know all of that because it's very military focused information. One success on lore, you know Darth Revan was a very powerful Force user from around 300 years ago.
Mhm.
You're not certain about the details, but you know that he was alive 300 years ago and died at some point.
Doesn't back off, but doesn't take knife away either.
Yeah.
Because
Graz
self-defense.
will reach down and find just a small loose object and just kind of underhand lob it at Revan.
It passes through the hologram.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good hologram. It looks like a real person, except for when the rock passes through it.
The noticeable relaxation.
All right. We have a
Well, that's
Hello.
disappointing and reassuring at the same time.
If this would help, he says, raising a hand, and that rock floats up and floats back towards Graz. All of you can make me a lore check, difficulty 3.
That's confusing. Lord check diff what?
Diff 3. And Crack, you can make a mechanics check, diff 3, if you want.
I gotta fucking wash.
I would much
God.
rather
I have-
do
Two
that.
I have
successes and
points
an
in war.
advantage.
Nothing.
Kitty knows about distance.
Yay!
So, all of you that made successes know that holocrons of a particular type are known to be imbued with some amount of the person who made them, who made them their force essence. Some holocrons can use some of the powers the person that created them in life could use, or at least replicate them to a certain degree. There's no way this person is alive as far as any of you are concerned, and being that it looks like a really realistic hologram that can use force powers, there is a holocron at work somewhere in this room.
Ooh. Am I familiar enough with holocrons to seek a holocron?
You'd have to be familiar with the specific holocron.
Okay.
Seek it.
It's a little vague when it comes to objects
Yeah.
because you can find the nearest branch or something. I was
Yeah.
just clarifying.
Do I know anything different with the mechanics roll or the
With
same
the
thing?
with the mechanics roll, you're pretty certain this hollow receiver, this like hollow projector, is a massive built-out holocron
Okay.
rather than the traditional like small cuboid that they come in or triangle. Because as you're getting closer to it and looking at it, this like relay setup is completely alien to your knowledge of mechanics and how this thing should work.
This appears to be some sort of incredibly advanced or exceptionally powered large holocron device.
Correct on
As
this
far
one?
As far as Graz is concerned, they have a magic rock now, and that just goes right into the utility belt.
The hologram of Revan turns to Crack. Very astute observation. I assume you are the most recent batch of squires from that order to come here seeking crystals.
Yep.
Very astute observation.
Oh, I want to ask you so many things about how you infuse that. That's so cool.
Sort of turns and
Hi.
looks at the group of you. Hello. Well, if you're looking for crystals, and he sort of turns and waves a hand, and one of the far doors opens up. There's a repository of Illium crystals being grown in lab. What was it? 2B. If you simply head down the corridor, take your first right, it's the door on the left.
I'd like to tell if this holocron or this hologram or whatever is leading us in the wrong direction.
How would you
Graz
like?
says
How would you like to tell
and
that?
follows those directions.
Just I don't.
You try to like read the hologram.
Yeah.
Make a cool roll, difficulty 5.
Okay.
Not only is it a holocron, but it's wearing a mask.
I don't know how these
Hey.
things work.
Let Nere's try.
You can try. Give me a cool roll, difficulty 5.
All right. Hey, I got a success.
Yay!
You're pretty certain it's not lying. It would be weird for it to lie when it could just kill you anyways.
Holograms can kill people?
Not encouraging.
I mean, this one probably could, considering it could move that rock. Graz threw at it.
Fair. That's fair. All right. We're going. We're going right now.
I
course
can
we're
see
out
So
that.
you're the guardian
That
of
way.
this place?
Yes.
Cool.
I am attempting.
How long
to
have you
move
been
people-
here?
The hologram sort of tilts its head. By galactic standard years, some 300 odd years.
And you're not inhibited by the planet's force interference?
This place is a little special. My presence keeps the forest from overgrowing the compound and acts as a balancing nature to the forest's own.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.
Nods.
Starts heading down the corridor.
I give the hologram just this long, like narrow-eyed stare for a minute
The mask stares back.
and walk away. And then
I would-
stop and look back and then walk away.
I would like to see if I can determine where the power is coming from.
Maybe a mechanics
For the-
check. Difficulty 2.
These electronics devices that are
Yeah.
still powered. Difficulty?
Difficulty 2.
Would it be appropriate to use manipulate on this? Because I'm reaching out through the force, trying to figure out where electronic things are.
Manipulate lets you manipulate the objects. You're just sort of looking at the moment, so no.
Well, I will explain my reasoning,
ahead.
and you can still tell me if it's no.
Feel
But
free.
the reasoning is if I can figure out where the power is, potentially instead of trying to fix it, I could just use manipulate to kind of follow along the lines through the force.
This is still an observational thing, not a
Fair.
not a touching, not a tactile thing.
So mechanics difficulty 2.
2. Yep.
3 successes.
So looking at it and what you already kind of know a little bit about holocrons, you're pretty certain the holocrons have a self-sustaining power source, and you're pretty certain that it's probably what's powering this whole complex. So the computer itself is its own power source in this case.
Okay.
So it'll be somewhere in that mass of holoprojectors and things that are sustaining the consciousness of this version of Revan.
Okay. To the others, everybody else is already moving.
For the most part.
I'm
so.
trying to.
Graz is long
waiting
gone. Yeah.
until you move on. I'm gonna try and gently herd you if you aren't moving.
No, he'll stop looking at it and then sort of scurry along the corridor after everybody else.
Yep.
And you see his beak opening as if he's about to say something, and then he closes it and just keeps moving.
So you all leave the central room, head down the corridor, take a right. There's a door on the left labeled 2B. The corridor is a little worse for the wear. There obviously hasn't been anybody here to upkeep it physically in a long time. But it's compared to the other structures you have found, it's in reasonable shape compared to what this planet does to other things.
Are you saying compared to not to be?
Yes, compared to not 2B. 2B is in
Right.
fairly good shape.
Proud of you, Jeremy.
The
Thank
door opens up, and inside you see a very complex series of lab equipment that seems to be specifically designed to grow crystals. As you can see, crystals in various states of completion all around it. As you step in, Revan is already in the room, and it's just sort of talking out loud, almost like an information hologram would. We established this base in order to have a point of operations and also to study the conditions under which lightsaber crystals grow naturally to see if we could replicate them for ongoing operations. The only thing we were ever able to fully grow here were Ilum crystals, unfortunately.
Who's we?
Turns and looks at you. Myself, my apprentices, and my followers.
Crack leans over to Nerys and says, "This audio tour is very impressive."
It is. I am very confused. This is what we are here for, though. Yes? These crystals?
Yes.
Yes.
Graz
Did
is
we
going
know...
to use their very limited knowledge and try and see which of these crystals are, for lack of a better term, ripe.
Sure. Craig, what were you asking?
I was going to ask, did we know ahead of time that the crystals we were coming to get were synthetic?
No.
Okay.
I am just looking to see how these are grown. I'm trying to find out everything I can about how this is being done.
Sure. Give me a lore check, difficulty 5.
I would like to assist because that is definitely what Crack is doing too.
Sure.
But I think
Can I
Kitty
get a
is better.
boost die on that?
Get a boost die. Lore check difficulty 5 with a boost
All
die.
right, I'm using. Wait.
Science pals.
Do we seriously not have any light side points? That sucks. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, these
We
fuckers
use the-
spent them all.
We used the last two so we could get
For your horror visions, fair enough.
for the lore check on
Oh,
Revan.
They
well,
wanted
now
to
I'm
make sure they knew who Revan was.
okay. Fine.
If it
Sorry, Craig.
helps, I still
failed.
didn't know very
No,
much.
all good.
If it helps, I still failed.
Which
What-
means that we spent the precious destiny for nothing.
It's fine. That's the
May I-
point. It's supposed to be used all the time. I was joking.
May I propose that Crack is more of a hindrance because he and Kitty start talking about theory more than actually investigating.
That is entirely possible. And they're also coming from probably different theoretical perspectives because Crack is a mechanic and Kitty is like a magician, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, probably so.
with two failures, this is entirely arcane technology. Kind of. Some of it's science, some of it's force magic, and it's fused in a way that's very similar to the way the holocron was built out in the main room. And it's weird and sort of a combination of your two particular fields in a way that neither one of you can really comprehend.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
That's
worse.
And
I
Graz,
got peanut butter in my chocolate.
Graz, you just sort of following your instincts reach over to one particular glass tube, twist it and pull, and just reach in and grab this crystal. And as you look at it, you see like sort of a rainbow of colors emanating through it as light shines through it. And you turn and focus on it, and it changes. What color does it change to?
Gold.
Changes to this golden, light golden crystal.
Interesting.
And you all sort of feel yourselves being drawn to specific tubes, Neri's included,
Okay.
where you will find, similarly, crystals that you just sort of instinctively reach out and pick up, look at, and tilt. And as you look at them, these rainbow of colors that emanate from within solidify into one. Kitty, what does yours solidify into?
That silvery color that I don't remember what the Star Wars name for is.
Silver.
Okay, let's go silver.
Avasia.
Red.
Corserath.
Sort of a very burnt, like autumn reddish orange.
Similar to Saris's.
Sort of like a dying star. Kind
Yeah,
of
whereas hers is like the noonday sun, yours is like the evening or like a dying star.
Yeah.
Crack.
A sort of dark teal or aquamarine.
Ilyana.
You'd think I would have thought about this. I feel like I particularly I would say a not to put too fine a nose on it, but a particularly dark shade of purple.
Okay. And Nere's.
Light purple.
No, you all have crystals.
Mostly because I just think that the black lightsaber's the dumbest thing in the world.
The dark saber.
Yeah, you dumbest thing.
It's so cool. Anyways,
It's the
Wait, what is
dumbest
this
thing.
Do
Don't-
I?
don't worry
I don't know
about
what
it.
It's a
this thing
spoiler for
Don't worry
stuff
about
that you're
it.
currently
is.
watching.
Okay.
anyways.
And several things that you may watch in the future.
Yeah.
So, as you all pick out these
and-
crystals,
And I apologize. I said aquamarine. I meant aqua. Those are two very different colors.
that's right.
Yes, they are.
You all drawn to these lightsabers, the hologram of Revan then responds again. The workshop is further down the hall, door marked. You can sort of see the flash of information across the visor of the helmet. Door marked 7T.
Will you be able to provide us any guidance in crafting these?
The Force will guide you.
Reasonable.
Roth will make his way over there.
Ozzy goes.
Okay, so for anyone that's looking, so really quick, you're going to go to the workshop. We're going to break in character for a moment. Here's how this is going to work. If you want to build a lightsaber that is a specific template, so like the standard crossguard lightsaber or a basic lightsaber or anything like that, you find those lightsabers in whatever splat book they are in, and you are going to be presented with an amount of materials in credits that you'll be able to use to build your lightsaber. If your lightsaber is already a standard template, you just get to build it. If you want to build a non-standard lightsaber, the Sentinel book, which I believe is called
Endless Vigil.
Endless Vigil, has rules for making mechanics checks to build your lightsaber. So these are more generic lightsabers, meaning they can have a couple of different things, and the rolls that you make can improve them or harm them based on what you roll. So you have your option of either just taking a template and going with what it lists, both in costs and in what it provides, or if you want to make a custom hilt that is not based off any template, you can use those rules. But while we're looking up that information and finding out which page that's on, which will be very useful because I don't have it open at the moment.
It'll be on page 85.
Thank you. You all exit the lab, go down the hallway and into 7T, where you find a series of benches and a whole bunch of boxes and things filled with parts. The hologram of Revan is there ahead of you, as it seems to just be omnipresent within this facility. And points out the various places where you all can sit down and go to work on your various lightsabers.
Crack is ecstatic.
Ilyana, we determined that the hilt for yours would basically just be the full 1,000 credits.
Right.
For the light whip. And you begin to... is there anything that any of you are doing before you sit down to craft your lightsabers?
Kitty pulls out a sketchbook that you've seen her sketching in probably at most of the rest, and is flipping through a lot of reasonably well-drawn, very different lightsaber design possibilities that she has definitely been sketching this entire time.
And Crack is just running around looking at all the boxes of supplies, going, by the depths, by the depths, by the depths, by the depths. And it's probably just pulling stuff out, looking at it, putting it back down haphazardly, and digging through everything.
You said that was on page 85 of Endless Vigil, William?
Yes.
It may be 84 in your PDF, but the page number is 85
Yeah.
in the,
I am pausing in the doorway and looking down at the crystal and looking down at my hand and wondering if I could insert. I don't know how to do this, but if Crack could.
The Force will guide you. You will know how to construct your lightsaber in whatever form you want to construct it in.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about the only people that are going to have to make the only people that are making any rolls here are people that want to use the non-standard template design rules.
Got it.
And I will remind you, even if you're doing a standard template, there are additions you can make from the core book that I don't
Yes.
would
Yeah.
those also have the potential of going worse?
Those just have the cost associated with them.
Okay.
So specifically for making it an embedded, because I can put things in my chassis.
Yeah, you basically get to replace the training saber you've already got in your arm.
Okay. Well, I don't have a training saber.
You have a training saber. It's not in you though. I thought it was in you.
No.
Oh. Yeah, but
no.
you can. So yeah, it would be a slightly extra cost to put it in your arm, but not much more.
Okay. All right. And could I do that with the basic lightsaber, or would it have to be the smaller version?
Yeah, you can do it with the basic.
Okay.
And Crack can definitely help if you will let him.
The Force. So is anybody just real quick? Is anybody wanting to use not a standard template?
Yes.
All right. Crack wants to use the template profiles.
Yeah.
So, while everyone is thinking about what your lightsaber is designed like, we're going to get to that once we get done with this. We're going to have Craig start us off.
Okay.
So, looking at Endless Vigil, what
Yes.
lightsaber profile do you want to start with? We have a standard saber.
I had my lightsaber fully spelled out
Mhm.
and everything selected, and then my old computer died, and everything on it was on that. So I need to remind myself.
So your options for your base options are the standard lightsaber hilt, the precision lightsaber hilt, the defensive lightsaber hilt, the double-bladed lightsaber hilt, or the pole lightsaber hilt.
I think I had gone with defensive.
All right. So you're going with a defensive lightsaber hilt, which is going to... Right? So you are going to make a mechanics check, difficulty 3.
I am definitely using manipulate on this.
Yes, you can use manipulate on this.
And
As
Crack
well
is-
as you all have a lightsaber tuning kit, which gives
provides
you
an advantage.
which gives you an automatic advantage in the roll as well.
And Crack also has the essentially force tools. So I don't think it changes my rolls at all, but Crack is going to be using a combination of his hands and move. So he's essentially constructing it significant portions of it with the force.
Yes.
It is floating together in front of him. So I'm sorry, difficulty 2.
3.
Yes.
Difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3.
Mhm.
I am going to commit my 2 force die to it as I use sense. Or as I use manipulate, I apologize.
And also add 1A into the mods roll, into the mods section of the roll, because you get an automatic advantage from your toolkit.
Okay. Just type in 1A. I haven't ended up doing that. in
Yep,
the
just
system.
1A.
Okay.
1A in the modifiers is 1 advantage.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Ooh.
Would you like to? Oh look, my hand slipped, and you got an extra, and one of the dark side points got flipped somewhere. Would you like to? Would you like to flip a light side to use those 2 dark side points?
I mean, I definitely would. I
Okay.
definitely would. I also typed 1A, and it seems like it gave me 6 advantage.
No, yeah, because you
No,
rolled
you
a bunch
just
of
rolled a
advantage.
boatload of advantage.
All of your
Yeah.
dice
Okay.
were advantage, and you got an additional. See, if you look at the roll, there's that additional advantage that's not attached to a dice.
that's the additional
That's the
advantage.
one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, woofa doofa. Okay, yes, please. I would like. Thank God for
So-
manipulate. I'm sorry, manipulate. Every time I told you you were a stupid power.
That's fine. Well,
Um,
so you have, so you take 2 strain, generate 2 conflict.
Yep.
But that ends up being a
Oofa.
net 1 success. So you have 6 advantage to spend on table 312 spending advantages. I will let you deal with that while we move on.
Oofa,
Uh,
doofa.
Was anybody else wanting to make a roll for their lightsaber, or was everyone just spending credits and building?
So I need to ask
Mhm.
you.
Yes.
As you know, I want a chakram,
Yes.
which is essentially a circle with the light on the outside that you hold from the inside, or a holdy thing in the center in
Yes.
Fantasyland.
Wow,
I know
and
that's
I
not
thought
what real
I
ones
came
are.
up. I thought I
Chakram.
was doing the dangerous one.
Yeah, no, I understand that this is dangerous, and Kitty probably will rarely use it in combat. My question is, does a combination of like curved hilt, and I'm still looking for it, the it looks fancy modification cover that, or would I have to roll it custom?
So the it looks fancy modification is the superior hilt modifier, which gives it the superior property.
I thought there was also a more minor one that was just like it looks.
I don't think there
could've
is. I haven't
sworn-
seen it. I've looked for it, but the only thing I found is superior hilt
Okay.
modification.
Yeah.
Yeah, adding a curved hilt.
Would a combination of curved and superior do that, or would I need to roll that custom?
Adding a curved hilt onto like because I figured if you wanted to just do a template, that I figured that would be like a guard shoto.
Yeah,
but
no,
with
absolutely.
A curved,
If
like
it's a
adding
template, it's
a
Shoto,
curved hilt. Adding a curved hilt onto a guard shoto would cover that basically.
Okay, and then I'll do the superior, which will let me make it out of wood-looking stuff.
Are modifications cheaper if you're making them?
No,
because the base price of the curved hilt is the full 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. So you wouldn't be able to pay for the curved hilt yet. But,
yeah.
But
okay.
You'd still be able to get that form out of just the defensive shoto.
Wait, I'm confused.
So the guard shoto is the Tonfa lightsaber.
Yes.
I'm saying that you can make a chakram style lightsaber just using that template.
Okay.
So all you'd have to pay for is the guard shoto, which is in the Guardians book.
Swords of Justice, keeping the peace.
Keeping the peace.
Page 46.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to spend anything extra. You just buy that. Yeah. And I think I said it would have deflection. It would lose 1 to deflection, but it would also lose 2 to the unwieldy.
Okay.
For the version that you want to make. So it would be
defensive. Then I'm just doing that, which doesn't require a roll.
Correct.
And I will fuck with the Force and try and infuse it with extra magic later.
Yep. And that'll be... What's the price on that real quick?
700 for the guard.
700 for the guard shoto.
So yeah, so that's 700 credits if there are any add-ons that cost 300 credits that you would like to add in.
I will look at that again.
All right. So while people are figuring things out, Graz, because you're just going with a basic lightsaber template, right?
Yes.
So
he is going with a great saber.
So you sit down at a workbench, grab the tools, and your body just starts moving. You don't think about it. You just start doing. What does your lightsaber look like?
So the exterior is he finds some hardwood casing to use for the grip. It's almost as it's as much composed out of natural material, wood, leather, resins, that sort of thing that he can find. It's only on the ends and where the actual mechanics of the switch are that there are visible metallic components to it. And at the very end, he actually clips a couple of stray fibers from his siren fiber utility belt and puts a small tassel on the anterior end. And yeah, it's fairly dark colored, mostly browns and blacks, with just that faint kind of silvered steel apparent at the blade point and the pommel.
Nereis.
And it's big.
So Nereis, the Force guides you as well as you open up your arm and, very precise with your other one, install a lightsaber into it. Now you still construct the lightsaber before you embed it in and attach it. What does yours look like?
So I'm gonna go with the Shoto hilt. So it's small. It's the same Nereus is going to cannibalize some of the metal that's already in their arm and sort of modify that. We had said something before about maybe doing it so that I could switch between training saber and
Yeah, so I'm basically you get the you spend that extra 100 credits on the interlocking feature, and we'll
Perfect.
attach that actually to the training saber emitter.
got it.
So you
Okay.
buy the Shoto, the emitter, and the interlocking feature, and basically
Okay. All right.
clip on or clip off as you so desire.
Mhm. Yep. So it is and then they will like screw that into the part of their arm that like and you've seen this a couple times because Nereus like has clicked out their guns before, but basically like in what would be the forearm, there's a part that ratchets out and they can use that to shoot. But they replace that on their right arm with this lightsaber.
Avasia, what does your lightsaber look?
Her saber is more simplistic. It comes to a point at the very end, kind of like a dagger.
Mhm.
And it has gold and black stripes going up it, and then 2 gold points to where the saber would come out.
Single blade?
Yes.
Corsorath.
Corsorath is a crossguard lightsaber. Sort of slightly different idealization of the crossguard, though. It definitely looks very cobbled and weathered, even at first craft. There's definitely like the hilt is definitely wrapped in some very worn leather. Rather than having a pair of vents on the side, it's actually got one plasma vent on the end, almost like a pommel spike. But there's a pair of field emitters that sort of form a crossguard shape off the side of the primary emitter that clamp that clamp shut when the lightsaber is inactive, but when the lightsaber activates, they flare out and sort of form this sort of containment field around the very base of the lightsaber that helps to catch things and contain the blade itself. Sort of this also forming a sort of like V-shaped crossguard, like one would see on like an English longsword.
Jeremy.
So, and Ilyana ends up putting it together through sort of the lightsaber construction version of automatic writing. Like she heads up to selection of parts, pretty much just shuts her eyes, focuses in, and lets the Force build her lightsaber for her.
I'll click the center button until I get a sentence.
I mean, a little bit, yes. Although I should say, when I text and it's one of those auto fill in, I always do left. I don't do center.
Okay, fair enough.
But it is it looks really, really small and kind of thin for it. Like if you're not familiar with the concept of this variation, it probably looks like a light pen almost, I guess would be the way to put it.
Much slimmer than a normal lightsaber.
Much slimmer, much smaller.
It's like sort of Shoto size.
Yeah. Wrapped in some kind of hide. Not sure what. She doesn't know what, but she likes
some kind of leather.
Yes. And very, very, very small, simple little button on it. Very unassuming, really.
Greg, you've had time. What have you spent your advantages on?
I'm gonna spend both of them on. If I had bought a blaster, I would spend 4 of them to get inbuilt. but I didn't, so I'm not going to pull an Ezra, and I'm going to instead buy 2 of the 3 advantage. I'm going to buy customizable to get an extra hard point on it,
Mhm.
because that's how
Hell
crack
yeah.
do. And I'm going to spend the other 3 on personalized design, which gives me an automatic success on the results. If I make a successful lightsaber attack, I get an automatic success.
It also adds an automatic threat to anyone that's not you using it.
Yes.
Sweet. And what does yours look like?
Honestly, I think at this point it looks incredibly cobbled together, because he has gone back to those boxes that he was pulling things out of and has picked the individual items from each that he feels will be most advantageous in the construction of the saber, with no thought to the aesthetics of the saber itself. So it doesn't look like a piece of junk, because I assume that everything in here is good quality, and he is specifically selecting things that are good quality.
Yeah, but it definitely has that. It has that almost haphazard feel to it.
Yeah, I and the other thing is that in looking at it, unlike a lot of the more artistically designed sabers that look kind of seamless in design, you can very clearly see the seams in this, because it is clearly designed to be taken apart easily and rebuilt in different configurations as additional parts become available.
It's a junkyard saber.
Well, that's specifically the thing. It's
Like not in the sense that like trashy, but like in the sense of like I found a bunch of pieces and screwed them all together and it works.
The Maker Faire saber.
There you go.
It's high quality stuff that someone clearly put together by hand.
At least that's what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, let me think on it, because that's not quite what I'm going. There's something that I have in mind for it, and it's totally slipping my mind for the comparison. So
That's fine.
let me try to remember what that is.
It's a cobbled together, customizable looking lightsaber. Kitty, go ahead and describe. You have what you want. Now describe what it looks like.
Yeah. So Kitty finds somewhere here, probably honestly in a these are extra shavings that no one's going to use, they're too small bin, the irony wood stuff, wooden construction, and starts essentially basket weaving a wreath tube, inside of which are the sort of electronic-y bits, which are also as much as possible natural materials, but it's got a sort of wooden, mostly woven exterior, and it is a circle, which is probably the thing that catches attention. Yeah.
All right, and as you all come to completion with the Force having guided you in this construction, and stand in sort of a semicircle, inspecting your own handiwork, the hologram of Revan produces from beneath the robes a pair of lightsabers, one in a blackened durasteel casing, the other in a silvered durasteel casing. And now, as is tradition, present arms. And his flick on, and you get this glow of a brilliant purple blade coming from both of his lightsaber hilts as he presents his own weapons. The indication being that you should all turn yours on for the first firing. So this brilliantly golden blade lights out of Graz's. What color is Nereus's?
Purple.
A pale purple blade out of Nereus's arm. Avasia's red lights up. Corsorat's ionizing field from the crossguard as it clicks open and a burnt orange blade erupts out of it. Ilyana's lights her blade and this many-faceted whip design just sort of emerges. How many whips does a light whip have? It's like
one.
I felt like it was split into multiple bits.
All the light whips I'm familiar with, I mean, that may be the case, but all the ones that I'm familiar with are one. And here I'll show you. I will provide an example.
That's what
Yeah.
the one
Oh,
in
I
the
could've
book
gone
looks like.
green.
Obviously, pick your
Hang on.
choice, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
well.
There's actually, interestingly enough, I did not. This is not why I chose it, but there is specifically an image of a Night Sister with the white with the light
Can I
whip.
change my color really quick?
Sure.
It's green.
Okay.
Yeah,
yours
add
is
it,
green.
girl.
Carry on. Like a pale
Okay.
green.
I was misremembering something, I guess.
Lane, that one is there, but yeah, the light whip that's in the Endless Vigil book on page 43 has like
Yeah, it
3
has a
or
whole
4
bunch of
different
tentacles.
tails.
Yeah, coming
Oh.
off.
That's what I was thinking. But yeah, so just one long
Just one
dark
yeah.
purple blade. Crack lights his up in this pale blue or pale teal. Was it teal or blue? Teal?
Yeah, it's aqua or teal. It
Yeah.
essentially looks like sunlit water near the surface.
And Kitty's ring, or sort of mostly ring of silver.
yeah, silver, gray in the right lights, that sort of thing.
Well made all. The Revan's lightsabers extinguish and yours all follow suit. Congratulations. I believe your masters might want to say something. Revan says as the hologram steps aside and Saris and Zook walk in through the door behind him.
Hi. I like your exploding gimmick.
You can't see Saris's face, but you're pretty certain she's grinning behind the mask. I figured some of you might have figured out what we were doing already, but for those of you that didn't, congratulations.
I'm only curious as to why the deception was necessary.
You have to feel, in order for this trial to have any meaning, you have to feel like you are alone, at least for a little while. And if you figure it out, you figure it out. That too is part of the trial.
I did start to question rather early.
That's good.
Was the land kraken part of the deception, or does that actually live here?
That actually lives here.
Master Artinos, we found, and Graz pulls out the helmet.
She looks at it. And?
I thought you would know what best to do with this.
She holds out a hand,
Turn it over.
takes it, looks at it. This helmet has reached the end of its line. There are no other wearers for it. And she just sort of puts it on a shelf off to one side.
That's going to be really confusing for the next initiates.
This planet is a unique trial for each and every group that come. You guys didn't have nearly as hard of a time as we did.
Sure, every generation will say
We're
that
just
about
that
the next
good.
generation from now on.
Come, there's one more aspect to this trial before we get to leave. And Saris and Zook turn and walk out of the room.
Right.
After, I guess.
Following, yes.
You all follow, and the pair of them lead you out to that landing pad where there is this fairly large ship sitting on it. Every group of squires that graduates, shall we say, into knightdom receives a parting gift from their mentors. If you can fix it, this one's yours, they say, indicating the ship.
Is Ileana standing anywhere? I was gonna say, is Ileana standing anywhere near Graz?
Probably looking really annoyed about what's about to happen.
Graz just leans over. I'm pretty sure our Quarren just came.
I know.
I inked myself.
God!
No, he
I'm
doesn't
really
say
curious
anything
to
because
see
he
if
has such
Savasia murders him, and that's all I'm doing. is
he has
watching.
such tunnel vision at this moment that
She's
he
not
is.
gonna murder him right now. We need him.
That's that's what really has Ilyana annoyed right now.
Oh no, it's got Savasia.
God
in there
damn it, we
too.
can't kill him now.
Yeah.
Corsorath puts a hand on Crack's shoulder, being probably the only person standing next to Crack aside from maybe Kitty. And just sort of looks at him. This, I believe, is your moment to shine, my friend.
Yes. Well, you all can carry things.
Yeah,
And,
I'll help.
is-
I'll help.
Wonderful.
Ilyana walks up and gets probably like that close to his face, like, don't fuck this up. And then walks off.
You do know that is very disconcerting, correct?
Uh-huh.
So what you're saying is you want to crash, Ilyana.
I'm a motivator.
No, you're not. And Crack's already inside the
That's
ship.
the opposite of motivation.
Yeah.
You should be
I don't
seeing.
know if Kitty can give a boost die, being not proficient in this, but Kitty is there as like a helper who is very smart.
You should be seeing a sheet that has the art of the.
Nope.
Ooh, cool.
ship.
It's got a bubble. It's got a Star Wars bubble. That's what I call the
Ooh.
window things.
Nice.
The Crack
Uh,
Shack.
That's what it looks like.
No.
Nope. Nope.
No. Though, as Kitty is helping, any attempts to name are sort of deferred and dissuaded.
No, I mean, but in all seriousness, Crack has no interest in naming
Okay.
this thing. He
Fair
just
enough.
wants to fix it.
As you run up to the apparent, so this is sort of a double stacked freighter looking kind of ship that has the cargo bay sort of underneath the principal bridge with a ramp that is currently open. And as you run up to it, you see that rather than an open cargo space, there's just a wall with an airlock door.
Okay.
And as you open it up and step inside, you find that it is set up, whereas rather than a traditional cargo area, it has been fitted for rooms as like sort of living room areas.
Hmm.
And you should
I
all
see a
now
med
be
bay.
on the map next to the entrance. At least that entrance.
I assume one of the double beds should probably go to our married couple.
Go ahead and give me while you're looking around at the ship, go ahead and give me a mechanics check. Crack. Difficulty 2.
Yes.
Bonus die for assistance or no?
Yeah, sure.
Also using manipulate on this.
I can only assume the rooms that have like a bed stacked on a bed is either a mistake or a bunk bed.
It looks like bunk beds. Yeah.
What are you talking about? A bed stacked on? Oh, yeah, that's a bunk bed.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
swings
those
towards
ones.
Yeah, those are
The
bunk
rear
beds.
of the passenger deck. Yeah. Mhm.
I'll take the
I mean,
advantage out of my mechanics.
if Corsorath and Avasia want bunk beds, that is also totally fine.
Bunk beds.
Bunk beds are great.
That's our-
I'm assuming that they'll either have separate rooms or one of the double beds.
Yeah.
That's once this room.
They just rip out the wall of one, so they've got 2 rooms with 2 single beds.
Yeah, just like a double-sized room.
Oh, look. I used another dark side. Would you
No,
like to...
there was one already, I think.
No, you forgot to
Oh.
flip it. You forgot to flip
Oh,
the one
okay.
when you used it previously.
I'm gonna do it again.
So 3 strain plus 3 more points of conflict.
Holy shit.
As you've been drawing on your frustration a lot this episode. So look at
So
the ship is in fairly good repair. It's the thing that you're sort of looking around. Primarily, it is out the drive core is in a particular state of disrepair, so that it can't move, but it's still powered. Basically, that's all you have to fix in order to get this thing running.
Okay.
and it looks to be in fairly well condition. You imagine, just looking around, you imagine this was probably a training vessel at some point, or like a troop transport of some kind for like Force users. It has that feel about it of like a ship that was designed to be carrying a lot of people who are training or studying or going to a fight, but not in a barracks sort of way. You also can determine that this is actually an ancillary cargo bay that can store like a speeder or something, and that can be lowered down. Basically, the airlock here is right above the airlock that you came in.
Okay.
And so this extends out past the lower cargo bay where the residential is, and you can drop speeders down from there or spaceships or whatever.
So it's got a nose compartment.
Yeah, it's got a
basically.
nose compartment that can fit a Silhouette 3 or lower vehicle.
And these are the engine rooms here.
Yeah, in the back.
Okay.
But yeah, you figure you could probably fix with the materials on hand and what you've scavenged along the way. You could probably have the ship flyable in a day.
I can probably get this thing flying within 1 galactic standard cycle.
Excellent. Does it have any guns on it?
It does.
Can I?
Yeah.
Were you asking that?
Yes.
In character. Okay.
Yes.
It has a forward turret mounted twin heavy ion cannon.
Ooh.
It has 2 port turbo lasers and 2 starboard turbo lasers.
I will rattle that off if Graz didn't see that themselves.
This was a pirate ship.
I explore the med bay.
The med bay is not stocked at all.
Ah, okay. We could
Okay,
use so
so
many
I
more things.
might be having trouble reading the map. Are there any somewhat empty rooms that could be converted into an alchemy lab?
One of the bedrooms could be.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing in the med bay.
No.
I'm
need that
trying to
space.
be nice to my friends. I'm not going to take the engine room or the med bay.
I
or
pull
the
the physician's
training
kit out
room
of my
if there's one
compartment
of
and I put it on a
those.
table.
Or
Start
the
arranging
gunner
things.
seat.
There is
Droid is in the med bay.
there is one physician's kit in the med bay now.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I guess it's been claimed.
That
There's
bed
some
that
moving
bed is not there, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So Kitty will on this bedroom's door, like, I know paper doesn't exist in Star Wars.
It
but
does.
essentially, okay.
Paper exists in Star Wars. It exists particularly down in the Old Republic times. I am making that an official statement.
Awesome. For Mara's benefit, there's a running joke that there's no paper and no shoelaces in Star Wars.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
Then why
George
would
Lucas,
we do shoelaces?
George
if
Lucas
there's
managed to
Velcro?
convince at least one actress on the show that there's no underwear in Star Wars.
Are these rooms?
Space
equipped-
Bros will strangle you. Anyways, moving on. This room here, that's not the ping. There's the ping. Kitty is writing lab on and sort of sticking that to the door. Not gonna be bedroom because we have enough rooms for that, I think.
Question: do these bedrooms have equipment for me to charge in them, or?
They have beds and sockets.
I know,
and,
but
power outlets.
beds are weird and
Yes,
nonsense
yes,
and
there-
very
there are-
difficult to get into and out of.
There are outlets that you can hook into to charge. Yes.
Okay, I claim this one. It's mine.
Kitty will wait for other people to claim bedrooms, but that is going to be the lab. It's like medicine, but magic.
Magic-a-sin.
Exactly.
Did you just say magicison?
Yes.
Yep.
I was ignoring Matt.
Thank you. Okay. Yep. That I should have done the same.
You can also tell that this area right here are airlocks for connecting to space stations and things.
Oh yeah, docking
Yeah,
tubes.
So I
these are
should not
docking
choose
tubes.
one of them as a room. That would be awkward.
I mean, you can, but if somebody opens the airlock or something.
Yeah.
Oh, make sure
That's a good
Crack
point.
chooses that as a room.
And the
Hey, Greg, these rooms are real close to the engineering
the lounge
And they're
is
watertight.
The lounge is the space between the engines.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Let's lounge. The place where you casually have meals and like roughhouse occasionally, right next to the engines.
It's also where the
No.
it's also where the escape pods are.
It's the place where you're gonna be sitting and hanging out is right next to all the things you might need to fix and the way out.
This
That's
is fair.
fair.
Yeah. No, I just
It's
want to not
dark.
have to climb stairs. That's an
You
original goal
couldn't
here.
actually use your trading dummy in the lounge because they're generally centrally located.
You said these are airlocks.
Yes,
Do they have? Is this actually a double door?
that's an airlock door.
So just a single one.
Yeah.
So this. Okay. I was gonna say
it's
Crack.
more like
actually,
it's more like an iris.
yeah. Okay. I was gonna say Crack actually probably would take one of those, so he could fill it with water. But if there's only one door on the interior, then that's no good. He is not paying any
Well-
attention to rooms, though. He'll pick one after he finishes fixing the thing.
So,
Obviously, Crack will be able to fix this thing and get it up and running. But who can actually fly it?
I can fly.
Also,
Can
me.
you? 2. Good. All right. That alleviates my concern then.
Yeah, I don't think
We're going to need a droid.
Have a droid.
Clax is like, tick, tick.
We have 2 droids.
We're going to need an astromech droid.
One thing
For
at a
us.
time.
actually,
Yes.
as Crack is investigating, the ship has an astrocomputer. Which is the thing that you need
I'm
if you
sorry.
don't. The ship has
Navcom?
the ship has a astrocomputer, which is the navigation.
Oh, Astro computer. Okay.
Yeah.
Astrogation. computer.
Astrogation computer, yeah.
Perfect.
Which is you either need that or an astromech droid, one of the two.
Good.
We've already got one
It's an
droid
a-
brain. It's just built into the ship.
Oh, good. It's an astrogation. It's an astrogation tool that doesn't have attitude. That's the best kind.
Not necessarily true.
You find that astromech droids often have attitude.
Perhaps it is your attitude
I've
toward
heard
them.
rumors. I don't deal with astromech droids a lot.
I
I
agree
deal
with
with
the
droids
phrase,
a lot.
So yeah.
but then
so,
again, I think it's less about them being droids and more about your feelings towards people in general.
Yelled from down the hall in the engine room. You hear Crack say, "We have a saying back on Mon Calamari. If you run into a rectum eating slug in the morning, it's a rectum eating slug. If you run into rectum eating slugs all day, you're the rectum eating slug. It loses something in translation."
I am
Slowly close the door leading into where Crack is.
So, stats wise, this is a light cruiser of an unknown class. Unknown manufacturer, though it appears Corellian. It can be stocked with enough consumables that it does to last 8 months. It has a primary hyperdrive class 2, a backup hyperdrive class 14. It has a navicomputer. It has 4 hard points, 2 of which are taken up with a retrofitted hangar bay out in the nose. It has an encumbrance capacity of 1,000. It has a passenger capacity of 14, including crew. It has a silhouette of 5, armor 5, speed 3, handling -2. It goes really fast, but it can go really fast, but it handles like a cow.
Oof. That also means we don't get to do any of the cool maneuvers from the book because it's silhouette 5.
Yeah, no.
Keeping it simple.
It has shielding,
We'll just have to buy a fighter.
which can fit
Oh,
in the
how
nose cone.
tragic.
Right.
It has shielding, 2 in the fore, 1 port, 1 starboard, 1 aft. Obviously, that extra 1 can be maneuvered around, or you can use the maneuver that lets you maneuver
Right.
shields around.
Redeploy those. Yep.
It has a hull trauma threshold of 46, a system strain threshold of 24, armor of 5. Its designated crew roles are captain, pilot, co-pilot, navigator, comms operator, engineer. It has, again, the forward turret-mounted twin heavy ion cannon, a port dorsal and a port ventral twin light turbo laser, and a starboard dorsal and starboard ventral twin light turbo laser.
If you did not know this, interesting thing about the vehicle character sheets for this system in Roll20, you can assign people as the gunner or whatever, and then their stats will automatically be used when the ship rolls.
You can.
Yep.
I'm not certain how well it does it because I tried that the other day. I tried that earlier when I was testing out this character sheet, and it did not roll any of the stats that I had assigned to it. So I'm not certain how well it functions, but you should all have access to the unnamed transport in your handouts. And if you look at the character
We
sheet,
only have the bio and info
Yeah.
part of it at the
I
moment.
think you need to
We
give
have
us
view, but
access.
not edit.
there we go. Yeah, there we go. All players, you can now see the
Aha.
character sheet
Yes.
and the vehicle
There we go.
sheet of the starship.
Cool.
Oh, and it's got long range sensors.
Nice. We are not blind.
And currently, it just needs to have its drive cores repaired so it can take off, which will be a day's work, no roll required for crack. So, after you guys have spent a little bit of time exploring the ship, Saris and Zook are just sort of leaning against the wall, on the wall of the facility outside, letting you have your fun.
Graz is going to go see if they can talk to Zook.
Yep.
The trials were enlightening, and I am coming to realize some of the places where my training is lacking. I want to continue to work with you and see if I can take what connection I have with the Force and use that to augment my efforts.
Certainly. That lightsaber does not mean you are no longer my student. It just means that we are now more equal than we were before. He says with a small smile.
Graz nods. I'm glad to hear it. Well, what will we do next? Do we return to the cutter with you
Yes.
once this is running?
Once the ship is running, we will all return to the cutter together on it.
Good. Very good. I'll go see if anything needs lifting.
At about this point, so a little after everything's calmed down, Kitty will, having been helping Crack up to this point, seems like it's pretty straightforward.
Yes, I think so at this point. If you
Okay.
have other things, I appreciate the help, but don't feel like you need to be bound here.
All right. If you need me for this, let me know. But I'm gonna go do things. Bye.
Bye. Oh, Kitty.
Yeah.
And he taps the belt with the talisman that she made.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again.
Yeah. I hope it's helping. I know I can't make it feel like it's water, but less unpleasant.
I think making everything feel like it water would actually be more of a hindrance than a help. But now that we have lightsabers, maybe I can be of some use to you. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to add or change about your saber.
I will. I'm pretty sure I can't actually use it right now. It's just a focus. Thanks.
That sounds like something I can help with.
I appreciate it. Yep. Yeah.
Nereus is going to go to the empty. Nereus is going to take something small that I can carry into the empty hangar part right here. Right, that's this part of
The nose
part
cone?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am going to try and lift it.
Okay.
With the force.
Do you have the lift power? Do you have the move power?
I have move.
All right, so go ahead and roll your force die.
Okay.
You're still 2 because you're still on the planet. Though after you guys leave the
Alright.
planet, it will drop back down to 1.
Okay. I think I just roll like this. Yes. Or no, I can do it in combat. Hang on. I know how this sheet works. Hey, 2.
Yeah. So you focus, extending your will out through the force and space around you, and as you do, it raises into the air fairly gently. It just sort of hovers there.
Left and to the right.
Sorry, you're muted for the beginning of that. What was that?
Oh, so I try and move it to the left and the right, and I'm just like testing.
It moves.
I lower my arm and try to do it just with my brain.
It's a little bit harder, but it still moves.
Okay. Right. Practice. I let it drop.
Practice what?
Clink, 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 clink.
Hello. Practice.
You were talking to yourself.
Yes. Practice. I have not done that in a while.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of practice in the near future, I think.
Who do you practice that with?
Practice what with?
Lifting objects with the force? Or just other... Do your teachers specialize?
All of them, I think, specialize to an extent, but as far as practicing that, and Graz will just take a couple steps back and sort of make an open gesture. Bring it on. Go ahead.
I can't move something as big as you.
All right, well. And Graz will pull out the rock. Ready?
Yes.
And he'll just lob it underhand at Narise's face.
I will try and catch it and throw it back to
Roll
you.
roll another force power.
Okay.
If you want to throw, well, we'll roll force power to catch it first.
Okay. All right. I just have the 1 force power. That's it. Hey.
You catch it. If you want to throw it, make a ranged light attack with your force die added in.
Okay. Range,
Difficulty 2.
Okay.
Actually, you're in short. You're in short range. Difficulty 1.
Got it. So it's the 2.
Yeah.
It's the 2 both force die.
Yeah,
Okay.
both force die.
Ranged light.
Yep.
Hang on. Where is it? There it is.
Ranged light. Difficulty 1.
Hey.
You forgot to add in the difficulty 1.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I did. Hey. Okay. Let's try that again. Ranged light. Gah.
So the rock fires past you, Graz, and tink into the wall. Clink, clink.
He'll
Oh,
go
it is
pick it
dented.
up. They'll go pick it up.
It dented. Okay.
Practice though.
Yes.
Graz will step over, put the rock in Nerise's hand. Practice. I will want that back.
All right. I will.
I'm going to go
hold
see
on-
if things need to get lifted.
Probably.
Mhm.
I will keep the rock.
You keep the rock.
Graz gives Nerise a wink and heads off to see if Crack needs help lifting anything.
But as Crack continues to work on the drive core and the rest of you get used to your new surroundings and the knowledge that while some of you suspected the explosion was engineered, now it has been confirmed that your mentors are alive and well. That is where we're going to end for this week, with newfound lightsabers and a little bit of newfound introspection on some people's parts. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.